everyone, Natalia here with Unravel Fitness, and today we're going to go over upward facing dog. For our upward facing dog, all our cues are coming from a traditional hatha perspective. So the big difference in this pose than most other yoga practices is that we want the heels together. Top of the feet are pressing down and the inner thighs are squeezing. Very important that the glutes are engaging to support the low back and the spine. I'll come back to that. First, our hand position. Hand position is similar to our high plank because we're lowering down through our chaturanga. And we want to maintain that even grounding through the palms all the way into the feet. And as my feet are reaching back, my crown is reaching forward, we're going to transition down into our up dog so we can feel a stretch along the whole front of the body. In our up dog position, traditional hatha has your feet and heels together. The inner thighs are squeezing. Glutes are squeezing as much as you can to support the low back and the pelvis. Now my feet are going to push down. My crown is going to lift up. Very important to have that neutral neck. In other formats of yoga, they lift the chin, they look up with the gaze, but they also have their feet further apart, and it's just a different position targeting different things. In traditional hatha yoga, we cue bones and the positioning that we want to get to eventually. So even though these poses may not be accessible to you, your bones will come into those positions, try to come into those positions, and then your musculature ends up changing over time through your practice. Whereas in Western yoga, they focus more on a lot more safety. It's more catered towards people who are more sedentary or don't practice yoga regularly from a young age. So a lot of these cues in more Western practices of yoga are going to be stuff that focuses more on the musculature, so that people don't accidentally force themselves into deeper poses that their imbalances don't allow them to. Just different styles, and it's a matter of finding an instructor and style that you like, that works for you, your body, and your situation. Coming back for our upward facing dog, that difference is very apparent in our upward facing dog. You'll see upward facing dog, feet are apart, and here. In this pose, with your feet apart, it's so much easier to compress into the low back because it's a lot harder to engage from the inner thighs and the heels. Glutes are squeezing to support the spine. Now, if I come into my up dog with my feet together and I'm squeezing my heels together actively, my thighs are squeezing, what I want to do with my shoulders, so my glutes are squeezing, my hips feel like they're reaching down, now my shoulders, I'm going to loop them back, shine my heart open, and it's as if I'm pulling myself forward through my chest. My feet are pushing down and my crown is lengthening up. So crown is reaching up, hands push down, feet push down. At the same time, I'm pulling my chest forward. When I return, I want to bend the elbows, push back as I return. As your practice develops, it'll be safer to be able to come all the way down into a chaturanga before you push your hips back. But that will come over time as you continue to practice and develop that strength. So highlights for our upward facing dog. Tops of the feet are pressing down. Heels are squeezing together. It's going to encourage us to strengthen the muscles all along the inner thighs, all along the inside of the knees, into the lower part of the pelvis. It's an easier way to support the spine by squeezing the glutes. It's also easier to notice if you're disengaging those muscles, because then you'll really feel the low back. And on the flip side, that's why a lot of other yoga instructors don't like using those heels together cues, because then you do really feel the low back. And it's really hard in such a quick vinyasa class to explain the differences between these foot positions. So in either position, as long as you're activating through the inner thighs, pushing down, grounding down through your palms to lift the chest, that's what we're looking for, that stretch across the front of the body. One last note, top of the feet in my upward facing dog, pushing into the ground, is going to be this part of my foot. This part. In dance, it's called the point of balance, but I want to be active all the way from my feet into my palms in all my poses, but very much so especially in this pose. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure to like it, subscribe to our page, maybe even share it with friends and family. I'll see you in the next video.